Welcome everyone to another episode of Against the Green About the Salt podcast. It's your girl Sarah, and you already know today is a good day. I hope you are feeling blessed and highly favored. Okay, it's Sunday. If for those of us that's it's still the weekend. You heard me. I just came back from church. Church was super good. So today I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I deal with when it comes to temptation and how we can deal with temptation. I think that once you understand what your vices are and you know what ticks you off and what gets you going, you're more equipped to be successful in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not walking around like, I don't know why I act like this, or I don't know why this triggered me. It's like once you understand your body and you grow and you mature, you should be understanding exactly what you like and what you don't like. This is for the imperfect people, okay? The whole podcast is dear letter to the imperfect people. Because if I was perfect, I wouldn't need Jesus. But because I'm not perfect, I need him very much. I am trifling. Okay, so without God, I am wretched. All right. So this is for the people who this for the real ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to it. So I'm gonna give y'all two of the temptations that I have. One, the ones that I struggle with the most, the most. We're gonna talk about sexual temptations, and then temptations like for instance weed. Right? I used to be a very heavy smoker. I used to smoke weed all the time, all day, every day, and I would be high functioning. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't one of them smokers that was like knocked out. I was smoking and I was moving. Now I have given my yes to Christ. I have slowed down smoking tremendously. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There are times where I am tempted to smoke, and this is what we're going to talk about and what I do to get away from that temptation of smoking. And I realized what happens in my life that makes me want to smoke weed, right? So cool. Now, the Bible, we're going to talk about what the Bible says about fleeing temptation. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of like practical things, daily things. So we're going to go to First Corinthians 10:13. Okay. And it says, no temptation has come upon you except what is common to humanity. But God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with temptation, but with the temptation, he will also provide the way out so that you may be able to bear it. Glory be to the Lord. Okay? Because when it says no temptation has come upon you except what is common to humanity, it's basically saying like there's nothing under the sun, there's no temptation on this earth that another human being is not experiencing. So for those of us who's like, you don't understand, you've never been what I'm going through, honey boo, somebody on this earth is experiencing the same temptations you're having also. And if it's not the same temptations, it's another type of temptation, but it's not to say you're the only one dealing with that temptation. That's what that means, that verse. Now, but God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way out. So there is hope and there is joy in knowing that there's rest, knowing that you don't have to be tempted forever in a sense of he will give you a door to run out of and you can escape the hands of the enemy, okay? Because temptation is real. Like I'm going to talk about how like we shouldn't play with temptation and we shouldn't think that we're so good, so disciplined that we're not affected by temptation. Okay? It says that he'll give you a way out. All right? Let's go to the next one. Now, the next verse I'm going to come upon is James 1:12 through 15. Bear with me now. Bear with me now. Hold up. I'll be grabbing the Bible pages. Let me slow down. Relax. All right. James 1:12 through 15. Blessed is the one who endures trials, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. No one undergoing a trial should say, I am being tempted by God, since God is not tempted by evil, and he himself doesn't tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desire. Now, I know there's this saying, there's like, oh, the Lord is testing me. You know, like let's say you're going through an episode of temptation, you're like, this person's tempting me in whatever way and fashion. You're like, this is a test from the Lord. He's trying to see if I'm a pass. That's not what the word says. I'm gonna read that part again because I think that I've been a person, I've been one of those people when I'm like, oh, he's testing me to see if I'm gonna pass this test. He's not testing me in an evil way. God is a good God. Nothing evil can come from God. You know what I'm saying? Like God does not, he's not an evil God. So he's not going to give you a sickness. He's not going to give you, like, he's not going to do something so that you could trip and fall. That's not God at all. No one undergoing a trial should say, I am being tempted by God, since God is not tempted by evil. And he himself doesn't tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desire. Can we start off with the fact that we are in the flesh? We're in a fleshly body, right? So we were born into sin, okay? And unless you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you are occupying in sin by default, right? You don't come into this earth like saved and sanctified. You come into this earth, it's a sinful earth, right? So you're going to have desires, your flesh, my flesh, me and you, we have desires of the body, right? So when I'm hungry, my stomach is going to be like, hey, you're hungry, Sarah. I'm going to go eat. The desire to eat. You know what I'm saying? The desire to, for mine was the desire to smoke, right? So I started smoking right after college. Okay. Now, some of these desires, they come upon us because we don't understand that there's certain things broken in our own body. So while I might have been smoking weed, you might have been drinking alcohol. You might have been indulging in food. You might have been indulging in pornography. You might have been indulging in, work. You could have been indulging in a lot of things. Whatever you're addicted to or whatever that temptation is, that's what sometimes we fall into these categories, not because we chose it, but because we chose it, but from a hurt place, right? So cool. And then some of these things, they're generational. Like that's what I mean. Like they're generational. Like you don't know that your great grandmother was dealing with sexual immorality, sexual temptation. You don't know your grandpa was indulging in pornography. Like you don't know, right? So then you come into this earth and you're like, well, why do I like certain things? It's not because you like it, your flesh likes it. All right. Maybe it's getting tattoos. Maybe it's hiking. Whatever it is, that's a sin. I'm not saying everything's a sin. We ain't gonna do that. But certain things are sinful. Our flesh does sinful things. Cool. So basically, if you are being tempted, it's because of your own desires and you're allowing them to breed. And we don't want our temptation, our sinful desires to have root and take fruit, right? So if I notice that for instance, me sexually, like it's very strict over here. You know what I'm saying? Now that I understand that I do like certain things, but I want to have the things that I like, I want it to fall under God's grace and mercy, and I want to do it the right way. So me personally, I don't watch over sexualized shows, right? I don't watch over sexualized shows. In my dating life, I do have rules. For instance, I only date during the day. I don't date at night. Okay, because if we date at night, I am playing on a very thin line. Okay, and when I am tempted, it says what? To flee from temptation. Let's get to it. We're gonna go to James. Stay in the book of James, and we're gonna go to James 4:7-8. 4 verses 7 through 8. Therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. All right. I got the revelation about that verse. I've always heard run from temptation, flee temptation, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. I always took that. I said, always, get it together, sir. I always knew that verse, but I didn't know. I didn't have a revelation until this year. The Bible doesn't say pray about your temptations. It says flee, resist the devil, and run. Okay, it says here, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Draw near to God and he'll draw near to you. So it's not just a matter of you leaving the situation or resisting it. And when we say resist it, it's not like, oh, stop. Oh, stop. If I know, like I said, we're going to use me as an example. I don't go to the clubs anymore. I don't, because I like to shake that thing. I'm not trying to do that no more. Drop it like it's hot, like a potato. So I don't go to lounges anymore. I don't listen to certain music that promotes sexual things, that promotes smoking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that I cannot, that's resisting the enemy. You know, sometimes the devil don't come to you like, roar, you know what I mean? He'll come to you it's something you like. And that's the temptation. He'll come to you like, hey, you want to go hang out at the bar? Man, I want to hang out at the bar because I have to preserve myself. And you're not supposed to pray over these things. You could pray, but God's saying flee, run, resist it so he can flee from you. Halt, back up off me. If that man breathing on you, back up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I won't be able to have too much touchy if we're not married. You know, I think the most that I will allow a man to do is maybe hold my hands. But, you know, depending on you, you got to be strict. For instance, when life gets stressful, I'm like, ooh, smoking some weed would relax me. That, you know, that was back when I was a little younger. Now that I'm older, I'm very conscious and I don't even want to be high. Like, I like showing up places sober now. It's really interesting because, like I said, I used to smoke a lot. But I do notice that when I'm stressed out or when it's that time of the month and we're ovulating, I'm like, if I can't nuck if you buck, I want to smoke. So now all I do, I'm gonna be honest with you. I told you I go to the gym, I burn that energy off, and I start talking to God for real, for real. Like, I be so honest with him. I'm like, Lord, I want to have sex, but I don't want to break your heart. I want to smoke a blunt, but I don't want to break your heart. And I'm not saying that when we flee temptation, it's always perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that you're always gonna be able to escape, but he gave you a way out. So if you stop, drop, and roll, like they say when it's a fire, if you stop and take a moment to not honor your flesh and just be like, God, I'm just being real with you because he put us in this body. I don't want to act like things are not happening and people be so religious, like, oh no, the Lord said, he did say these things. But at the same time, he understands the body that we're in. And then the only person who's going to understand that is Jesus because he came down here and he knows what we were dealing with. So he can resonate with us. So I'm going to go to Matthew 26 about the flesh, right? Because I think it's important that we know, because this is for the real ones. Like, I'm going to tell y'all what's really good. I'm not about to sugarcoat nothing, and I'm not sugarcoating, because when the enemy comes to attack you, it's not about sugarcoating. And I don't want you to live in condemnation because you feel bad for feeling these ways. You shouldn't feel bad for being horny. You shouldn't feel bad for being sad, depressed, lonely, and all these things. The thing that you shouldn't feel bad, those are all emotions. What you don't want to do is you don't want to sit there. I'm trying to let us know that there's somebody who understands your pain. There's somebody who wants to help you carry that pain. And that's Jesus, that's God. And I know we try to act like God is this far distant thing, but it says draw near to him and he'll draw near to you. He's right here in my heart. Like, I don't gotta go dial a number. It's right here. Let me go to Matthew and stop yelling at y'all. I don't know why I'm yelling because I'm passionate. And I just know that I wish I had somebody talking to me the way I'm talking to you. Because for a long time, like I said, grew up in the church, but it was just like, oh, you're bad if you like somebody. You're bad if you know you want to kiss somebody. Man, the Lord made it. He made all of that. He made sex. So as long as sex is in the fine lines of the Lord, we're good. You feel me? Like, let's not be religious. Like, let's be for real. All right, Matthew 26:41. Stay awake and pray so that you won't enter in temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Did y'all hear me? Stay awake and pray. That don't mean stay awake and like don't go to sleep. Spiritually stay awake. Stay woke in the spirit. Always be sober and aware of what's going on. But it says stay awake and pray so that you won't enter into temptation. So if you're not being conscious in the spiritual realm and you're not praying, of course you're going to fall into temptation. Whatever you feed yourself is what you are. They say you are what you eat, right? So it's like if I'm listening to secular music, I'm listening to bounce that thing, da 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 da, anything that's talking about sex, money, drugs, right? If I'm watching certain seasonal shows, episodes where they're advocating a lot of things that are fleshly, of course my body is going to be like, I want to see some, I want to try some. You ever been like, why all of a sudden I feel like I want to do certain things? It's because you're watching certain things, you're eating certain things physically and mentally, right? It says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And when I tell you I resonate with that. My spirit be so 10 toes down for God, but my body be bodying. I be like, Lord, I have to go tuck myself away in a corner. Yeah, let's be for real. When I'm really like, my flesh is fleshing and I want to eat something I'm not supposed to eat, like that's another thing that I'm dealing with. Having eating healthy food because I grew up, eating whatever I want and certain things. It's like I like this, but this is not for longevity. It doesn't do my body well, and I'm not losing weight the way I used to. Metabolism is slowing down. So the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Honor the fact that your flesh is weak. And let's not walk around like, oh, this is not going to phase me. I don't care if I've been abstaining from sex for 100 years. That does not mean that temptation will not be able to swipe me off my feet if I don't stay on my feet, on my stuff. And that's what I'm saying. Like we used to be sinners and now we're saved by grace. So I'm not a sinner anymore, right? But I don't sin on purpose. We all fall short of the glory. So my thing is like, don't think that because you're saved by grace that you won't fall into temptation. You will fall sometimes. We're not perfect. That's why God died on the cross. Jesus died on the cross for us. Yes, God sent his son so he could die on the cross for us so that we can have the power to do certain things on this earth, right? So I'm gonna leave us with this. The flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Do not underestimate your flesh. Another thing, Satan knows exactly what you like. I said I was gonna leave with this. I'm gonna say this one. Satan knows exactly what you like. He know how you like it and when you like it. So I feel like I said, when you start to get to know yourself and you start maturing, you are going to see when you're feeling certain ways, when you're not. And you're gonna be like, all right, this time of the month, I'm very vulnerable. I'm gonna watch where I go. I'm gonna watch what I watch. I'm gonna study the word a little harder. I'm gonna abstain from certain things. Because like I said, for us females, certain times during the month, I'm crying for nothing. And I'm like, I'm a thug. Why am I crying? It's because it's a certain time in the month. So also I understand that my body is heightened. So I'm gonna treat myself right, right? I might not go as hard in the gym. I might not eat certain things. I start eating certain things to comfort myself and back to the sexual temptation or whatever temptation you're having. You need to make sure you're taking a graph of what's going on in your life. Let me know how you deal with temptation and if you even ever thought about temptation the way I'm saying it, like watching what you eat, watching what you watch. You know what I'm saying? It's your girl Sarah, and you already know we finna talk some more. I'm gonna see you on the flip side. Yup.